Hi, in this video, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about what's called map of consciousness. It's a map that was developed by David Hawkins, who wrote the book Power versus Force. And I oftentimes use it in my groups when I talk about spiritual awakening, when I talk about certain states of consciousness or feelings that we can get stuck inside of. So I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully this is gonna work seamlessly and you'll be able to view the map. Okay, so if you look at the bottom of that map, as you can see, shame has the vibrational imprint of 20. Okay, so that's the lowest that you can experience in this map of consciousness. And as you can see, all the other feelings, emotional states of consciousness start to increase by increments of 10, 25, and so on and so on. But then we got guilt, victimhood at 30, apathy at 50, grief is 75. Something I do want to highlight about grief is that there's absolutely nothing wrong with grief, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with the other emotions that you will see in this map of consciousness. What can happen though is that if you get stuck in the feeling of grief, then it becomes problematic. Right? It can lead to depression. It can lead to the heart being closed off. It can lead to you not being able to experience a sense of joy in your life. So the invitation here is to allow yourself to feel through these feelings, to feel through the grief and all the other emotions that can be connected to grief. Okay, sadness is a part of that. Fear is 100. Oftentimes people use the word anxiety, like I feel anxious. Rarely do we hear people acknowledge that they feel afraid. And that's due to the fact that it does take courage to admit that you are feeling afraid. And there's a certain degree of vulnerability that comes with that as well. Desire is with 125, anger is 150, pride 175. Courage is at 200. This is when things can start to shift around, change. This is when you can start to tap into the courage inside of your heart. The word courage comes from the word cur, which does mean the heart. And so when you're tapping into the heart, this is where you're starting to also tap into courage. Neutrality, 250, willingness, 310, just willingness to change your life, willingness to do what it takes, willingness to move forward in life, willingness to look at your shadows, to look at your traumas, to look at the wounds that got created, as you were born into this world. Acceptance, 350, reason, 400. Love vibrates at 500. Joy vibrates at 540, peace is 600. And then lastly, we've got enlightenment, that's 700 to 1000. Everything above courage, David Hawkins labeled as creative and expansive energies, and everything below courage is usually destructive energies or energies of contraction. And all that means is that when we are in the emotional state, let's say of anger, it does create this internal contraction. An invitation here is to let go of judgment, let go of criticism, and start to really be with that contraction, work through that contraction so that you can move into a state of expansion. And it is very natural and normal to move back and forth between expansion and then contraction. What I believe happens for many people, myself included, when I was sort of stuck in the job I did not like or experienced a lot of many emotions that I didn't know how to deal with after a particular heartbreak, is that we can get stuck in these emotions that are below courage, and then we don't have the tools or the coping skills or the right support to be able to move through those states. So it's just an invitation to ask yourself, where do I predominantly spend my time? Like if I just honestly reflect on either the last week or a couple of weeks or a month, where was I emotionally speaking? Which vibration was I primarily sort of being inside of? And once again, there's no need to judge your experience around this. is just so that you can be really honest with yourself. You can fully accept where you're at, and then you can also lean into support and start to move into the states of consciousness that feel more uplifting and more energizing for you. I'd love to hear how this is landing for you. I'm just going to stop the share and come back. Yes, I'd love to hear how this is landing for you. And if you have any questions, let me know, comment, or maybe you've have your own experience of this kind of a map of consciousness, or you've maybe have other resources that you'd love to share with people in this audience. I'd love to hear from you as well. Alrighty, take care for now. Bye.